The questions that should never be answered. Have you ever wondered what happens when someone calls 911 but can't get through? What would make you lock all the doors in your dorm room, knowing that the threat is already inside? What if the person who was supposed to protect you was exactly who you should fear? My name is Marcus Rivera. I've been a detective for 17 years, and I've seen a lot in this profession. Bodies, violent crimes, scenes that most people could never erase from their memory. But what happened that Monday night? That was different. I can't get this out of my head, not even when I close my eyes. Let me start from the beginning. It was 6:23 a.m. when the call came in. I was finishing my night shift, filling out paperwork, eager to get home and take a hot shower. Dispatcher Sarah answered. I heard her voice on the radio, tense in a way that wasn't normal. All units. We have a situation at Westfield College, female dormitory, Block C, room 237, silent 911 call. Line still open. We hear heavy breathing and sounds of a struggle. I grabbed the car keys before Sarah had even finished speaking. Westfield College is about 15 minutes from the police station. It's a small university, the kind where everyone knows everyone. Quiet town, the kind of place where the worst crimes are loud parties and drunken students. But something about that call didn't feel right. I sped through the empty streets of the early morning. The sun hadn't fully risen yet. Everything had that grayish-blue hue that made me uneasy, as if the world were trapped between two states, neither day nor night. When I arrived on campus, the place was sepulchral in silence. Not a single student was awake yet. The dormitory windows were dark squares against the concrete, except for one. On the second floor, a window was lit. Room 237, and I could see a silhouette moving inside. Slow movements, deliberate. I climbed the stairs 2 steps at a time, hand on my gun holster. The second floor hallway was narrow, smelled of cleaning products and that characteristic dorm room odor, old food, cheap perfume, mold. I stopped at the door of room 237. I pressed my ear against the wood. Silence. But it wasn't normal silence. It was a heavy kind of silence. The kind you feel when someone is on the other end, holding their breath, waiting. I knocked on the door. Police! Someone called 911 from this room. Nothing. I banged harder. I need you to open the door. Now. That's when I heard a whisper. So low I almost missed it. Help! The voice was feminine, trembling, terrified. And then I heard something else. Footsteps. Someone approaching the door from the inside. I'm going to open the door, I shouted. If there's someone hurt in there, I need to go in. I used the master key that the campus administration had given me when I arrived. The lock clicked. I pushed the door open slowly, gun in hand. The room was dark, except for a small desk lamp that cast distorted shadows on the walls. It was a double room, 2 beds, 2 desks, 2 wardrobes. One of the beds was empty, impeccably made. In the other bed, on the left, lay a girl huddled up, hugging her knees to her chest. She couldn't have been more than 19. Disheveled brown hair, a face as pale as paper. His eyes were wide, fixed on something behind me. Are you okay? I asked, lowering my weapon but remaining vigilant. Was it you who called 911? She didn't answer. She just kept looking over my shoulder. I turned around quickly. The bathroom. The door was ajar. Is anyone there? I called. Stepping forward, the girl in bed finally spoke. Her voice was broken, hoarse. She's there. Who? My roommate. I pushed the bathroom door open with my foot, gun raised. Empty, but the shower was on. Hot water was running, steam filling the small space, and there was something written on the fogged mirror, with a finger. Trembling letters that looked like they had been done in a hurry. She knows. A shiver ran down my spine. Where is your roommate? I asked, returning to the master bedroom. The girl, I later found out her name was Jennifer, pointed to the locker on the right. Hers. She's in there, he whispered. She's been in there all morning. I approached the closet. I pressed my ear against the door. Breathing, slow, controlled. Someone was inside. Police. I need you out of there. Now. No response. I grabbed the doorknob. I counted to 3 in my head. I opened it all at once. Her roommate was there, crouched at the back of the closet, among hanging clothes and shoeboxes. Blonde hair hiding her face, wearing light pink pajamas. And she was smiling. It wasn't a normal smile. It was too wide, forced, as if the muscles were being stretched beyond their natural range. "Hello, officer," she said, in a strangely calm voice. Sweet smelling. "Is there a problem?" "I need you to get out of there," I ordered, taking a step back to make room. Slowly. She emerged from the closet with fluid movements, graceful, even, like a dancer. But his eyes were empty, like black holes. "This is Melissa," Jennifer said from the bed, her voice trembling. "My roommate." Melissa turned her head at an unnatural angle to look at Jennifer. Her smile didn't waver. "Hi, Jenny. Why did you call the police?" "We were having so much fun." "Miss," I interjected, placing myself between them, "I need you to tell me what's going on here." Melissa finally looked at me, and when our eyes met, I felt something I hadn't felt in years, pure fear. "Nothing's happening. Officially, I was just checking on my friend every Monday morning when she gets home, always at 6 a.m., always so predictable." Jennifer started to cry. "She's been doing this for weeks. I wake up and she's next to my bed, staring, just staring, or sitting on my bed, or on the ceiling." "On the ceiling," I repeated. "I saw the marks," Jennifer sobbed. "Handprints. On the ceiling above my bed, recent marks, as if she had climbed up there." I looked up instinctively. The marks were there, palm and finger impressions in the white plaster. Fresh, still damp. "That's impossible," I murmured. Melissa laughed. It wasn't a human laugh. It was too high-pitched. It had too many layers. "Impossible," she repeated, tilting her head, "just as it's impossible for someone to go 3 hours without blinking. Impossible to stand still for hours in the dark, watching someone sleep. Impossible to know exactly when someone is about to wake up." "Miss, I'll need you to come with me to the police station," he said, trying to keep his voice steady. "We need to talk about a few things." "Of course, officer. But first, can I get my medication?" Melissa walked toward the desk. "I have a skin condition. I need to take my medicine." That's when Jennifer yelled, "Don't let her open the drawer." But it was too late. Melissa opened the locked drawer. There were no medicines inside. There were photos, hundreds of photos, all of Jennifer. Jennifer sleeping, Jennifer in the library, Jennifer taking a shower, clearly taken from above the shower stall. Jennifer walking around campus, Jennifer eating, Jennifer studying. And in each photo there were red marks, circles around Jennifer's neck, measurements, handwritten numbers. "Do you understand now?" Melissa whispered, looking directly at me. "I was practicing every Monday, getting a little closer, touching a little more, seeing how long it would take for her to wake up, how long it would take until, well," she made a squeezing gesture with her hands. "I pulled out my gun. On the ground. Now." Melissa obeyed, but that smile never faded. "You don't understand, officer. I can explain everything. There was another girl before Jenny. She understood the rules. She knew she shouldn't wake up when I saw her, but she woke up, and then she had to leave." "What other girl?" I asked, as I handcuffed Melissa. "My last roommate, Sarah Mitchell. She was special too." Jennifer choked up. "Sarah. Sarah was transferred. They said she had a nervous breakdown." "Transferred?" Melissa laughed again, that awful sound. "That's what they say when they don't want to admit what really happened. When they don't want to admit they found her locked in her own closet, scratches on the walls, broken nails, hair pulled out, repeating the same words." "What words?" My voice came out hoarse. Melissa leaned close to my ear, even though she was handcuffed. Her breath was cold. It smelled of rotten meat. She never sleeps. She never sleeps. She never sleeps. I took Melissa into custody. Jennifer was taken to the hospital for evaluation, but the investigation that followed, that's when things got truly disturbing. We analyzed the dorm room key system, only 2 keys for each room. Jennifer had hers, Melissa had hers. But when we checked the building's access history, every student needs to swipe their card to enter, we discovered something impossible. For the past 8 weeks, every Monday morning, between 6 and 6:30 a.m., the system recorded 2 simultaneous entries. Jennifer's card allows her to access the building through the main entrance, and Melissa's card was being used to access the property through the back entrance at the same time. But here's the problem. When we checked the security cameras, Melissa never left the room. She was there in her bed all night, from 11 p.m. on Sunday until 6:30 a.m. on Monday, and yet the system still showed her logging in, as if there were 2 Melissas, one sleeping in the room, another one somewhere on campus, doing God knows what. I questioned Melissa at the police station. She refused to speak without a lawyer. But before being taken to her cell, she told me one last thing. "Officer Rivera," she called, her voice now sounding different, younger, frightened, as if someone else had taken control. "I don't remember any of this. I swear. I wake up in the morning and there's stuff under my fingernails, dirt, sometimes blood, and I don't remember. Her face was contorted. Tears were streaming down her face. The smile had finally vanished. "Please," she cried, "please don't leave me alone in the dark. When I'm alone in the dark, she takes over. The other one, she takes over and I can't do anything but watch." I did something I shouldn't have done. I went back to the dormitory that night, room 237. It was already cordoned off as a crime scene, but I had access. I needed to understand. I searched everywhere, under the beds, inside the closets, behind the posters on the walls. That's when I found it. A small trapdoor in the ceiling of Melissa's closet, hidden by boxes. I pushed the boxes aside and climbed up. The space above was a gap between floors. Narrow, dark. It smelled of mold and something else. Something organic, rotten. I turned on my flashlight. The beam of light revealed the walls. They were covered in scratches, hundreds of them, layers upon layers, years of marks, as if something had been up there, digging, waiting. And there were more photos. Not just Jennifer. There were photos of all the girls who had lived in that room over the past 10 years. They all had the same red marks around their necks, all with measurements written next to them. And at the bottom of the gap, tucked away in a corner, there was a notebook. I opened it with trembling hands. It was a diary, but it wasn't written by Melissa. The handwriting changed with each entry, sometimes neat, sometimes childish, sometimes scribbled so forcefully that it tore the paper. The first entry was from 2015. "My name is Amanda Price. I live in room 237. There's something wrong with my roommate. She watches me sleep. I pretend I don't notice, but I do. I always notice. Please, if anyone finds this, don't live in this room, don't live in this room." Next entry, different handwriting. Jessica Torres, 2016. "I'm scared. My roommate, she's not herself during the day. At night, she transforms. She climbs the walls. I saw her. Nobody believes me. I'm leaving." And another thing, Rachel Kim, 2018. "It doesn't matter who lives here. It doesn't matter what her name is. It's always the same thing, using different faces, waiting, always waiting for the right one." The entrances kept coming. Different girls, different years, same story. The last entry was from 3 weeks ago. Melissa's handwriting, but it didn't look like hers. I found the right one. Jennifer. She doesn't wake up easily. She doesn't scream. She's perfect. Monday. Monday is the day. Always at 6 a.m. When she comes home. When she's most vulnerable. When I'll finally succeed. After 10 years, I will finally succeed. And then, on the last page, written in huge letters that filled the entire page, "Thank you for finding this, Officer Rivera. Now you know too." My flashlight blinked, and in that second of darkness, I heard breathing right behind me. In the narrow space, I turned around, my heart pounding in my chest. There was nothing, but when the light returned, I saw footprints, barefoot footprints in the dust. Recent, taking me to where I was and stopping right behind me. I got out of that space faster than I got in. I climbed down from the closet, jumped out of the room, and locked the door behind me. My hands were shaking so much that I dropped my keys twice. In the hallway, everything was silent, but when I looked back at the door of room 237, there was a handprint on the inside of the glass of the small window in the door. As if someone had just pressed her there, trying to get out. Melissa was admitted to a psychiatric institution. Diagnosis: severe dissociative identity disorder, possible schizophrenia, possible violent sleepwalking. Jennifer transferred to another university, in another state. She calls me sometimes. She still has nightmares. She still sleeps with the lights on. The university closed room 237 for renovations. But I know the truth. They can't find students willing to live there, because even after painting the walls, changing the furniture, installing new locks, the marks keep appearing. Handprints on the ceiling, scratches on the walls. And every Monday morning at 6 a.m. sharp, the security system registers an entry. Student card not identified, room 237, but when they check the cameras, there's nobody there. To this day, I can't enter that building without feeling something, feeling like I'm being watched, that something is waiting for the next girl who will live in room 237, looking forward to practicing, waiting to squeeze just a little bit more, waiting until it's finally Monday again. And you know the worst part? 3 days ago, I received an email from the university. They are reopening room 237 for the next semester. They said they found a female student, a freshman who urgently needs accommodation. I tried to call. I tried to warn them. But when I dialed, a female voice answered. It wasn't the administration. It was a voice I recognized. That sugary voice. Too layered. "Hello, Officer Rivera. Why are you calling? Is there a problem?" I hung up. And now, every Monday morning, I hope I'm waiting for the 911 call. I'm waiting for the next girl who wakes up with someone sitting on her bed. Waiting. Always waiting. Because I know the truth now. It doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter how many times we arrest Melissa. She never sleeps. She never sleeps. She never sleeps. If you want to learn more about archived cases like this one, cases that the police tried to hide, stories that should never be told, the complete e-book with 13 cases from the department is available in the pinned comment. These are the cases that make me question everything I know about what is real and what should remain buried, because there are things we shouldn't discover, and room 237 is still waiting. End of transcript. Detective Marcus Rivera was removed from active duty in November 2025 for psychological evaluation. His current whereabouts are unknown.